So, racist clothing. Now, we're going to start off being fair. I will reach across the aisle on one of these. Alright? This... like, that looks pretty blackface. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty bad. It's... I mean, you still have the, you know, the rest of the head, but that looks pretty bad. Whoever it was that came up with that, I don't know. Like, I don't see racism. I'd have to look at it for a minute to go, but, I mean, it wouldn't take that long for me to kind of go, like, in this day and age, I don't think that's going to go over well, madam. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty bad. Like, that's just pretty bad. And what it is it's the mouth. Obviously, right? The rest of it's just black. And black shirt is fine, as far as I know still. It's the mouth. Like, that's pretty, you know? Like, so I can't really fault people if they're going to be like, dude, that's kind of white people trying to come up with a tricky way to do blackface. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to fly. I could be enough of an adult, right? I'm not, you soy boy, fuck off. Like, I could be enough of an adult to go, like, maybe that's not your intention. Most likely that's not your intention. Sure, whatever. Everybody had their thumbs coming out of their fucking sleeves for forever and people still wear that shit. Everybody was wearing fucking hoodies that you zipped up the fucking face for a long... Man, there's all manner of fashion trends. Like... Here's where I think it would be alright. Here's where I think you'd have to kind of be stretching to go blackface. Sew the fucking mouth hole shut. If it was just a big pair of red lips, yeah, whatever. She's wearing a black shirt. Pull up the fucking neck, and there's a mouth there. That's almost cute and clever. You know what I mean? That, I think you have to take a stretch to go, oh, blackface. You know what I mean? That, with the mouth up, I don't know, man. That's just not good. So, Bloomingdale's, or whatever it was, Gucci, Gucci, I think it was. Bloomingdale's, Gucci. First of all, do you guys make any clothes that people would actually wear? Like, that's just the first thing off the rip. What the fuck is all this shit every time you put out these things? I don't get it. Whatever. Sew the mouth hole shut. And honestly, I mean, now that it's brought up, yeah, fuck it, you gotta burn all these things. But if they wouldn't have put the mouth hole, I think it would be kind of like this. Katy Perry's shoe. Now, we've had Katy Perry on the show before. Not exactly, but we've talked about Katy Perry before. Apparently, Katy Perry's kind of a rapist. And here we go with this blackface shoe. Now, it's an ugly fucking shoe. I don't know who would seriously wear it. Weird girls would. But I think it's a stretch to say that this is in any way, like, racist. It's an ugly fucking shoe, I will give you that. Not because it's black, but because what in the fuck am I looking at? Like, it's really creepy. I couldn't wear them and have those faces staring up at me all day. Oh, it would be so weird. Whatever. Katy Perry's is a weird fucking chick, or at least that's her shtick, so, you know, whatever. So, but I don't, I think you gotta be a person who sees racism everywhere to see racism here. It's a fucking ugly shoe. It's got a face on it. It's a black shoe with a face. Come on. Like, I don't see racist intent here. I see racists saying everything's racist because I'm racist and I hate everybody else that's not my race, so everything that everybody else that's not my race does is racist because I'm racist. Like, that's what I see here. So, whatever. Now that's just terrible. Honestly, I'm a bit confused as to the problem here. I don't know if it's like a KKK thing where they wore all white. These are all white shoes. Or if it's literally just it's an all white shoe. But for whatever fucking reason, and I like it sounds so absurd to me, I have to actually put this in. I'm not entirely positive as to if this is actually the reason why they're putting out this shoe, but it has been reported that this shoe was to be released to celebrate Black History Month. Now, I want to talk about this for 1 second. Why are you releasing shoes to celebrate Black History Month? What in the fuck sense does that even make? Every time a company does this dumbass shit, you get in trouble. I think at this point, you all need to learn that your job is to sell us fucking products that we want and will use, or at least will buy. Right? I get that you want to get in on the big sales for whatever. Right? Christmas sales. M&M's comes out with their red and green M&M's. No problem. Right? Skittles puts out all white Skittles for diversity or whatever the fuck it was. To celebrate LGBT. I don't even fucking know. Or because we're giving them the rainbow. And now they're racist. Why? Because you made it all white. Well, if you were to take all of the color out of the fucking color, whatever, the candy coating, it would be fucking white. So it makes sense from a reasonable perspective. We're draining the color out of the Skittles. We're giving up the rainbow. They're white. Absence of color. Black is the absence of light. White is the absence of color. Right? It wouldn't make any fucking sense to make them all black. It would make even less sense to make them all blue. Or red. Or purple. Like, it wouldn't make sense to make them a color if you're taking the fucking rainbow out of goddamn Skittles. Only people who are looking to be upset, only people who are looking for shit because they believe everybody else is against them. Why? Because they're bigots. It's worse than racism. Like, I can get if somebody says, I don't like black people because they're black, and I think that's odd, and I don't like it. I could almost go, alright, fine. Well, what do you think about Asian people? They're funny looking, but I love their food. You know what I mean? Like, most racist people don't really hate everybody else but their own race. Or at least not that. I mean, I don't know. I guess that doesn't even really make any sense. But I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't think that point's going to wind up making sense.
And why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves up.
It just seems so weird to me that, like, everybody... Because it just seems like everybody's like, oh, I don't like Jews, but everybody else is fine. Like, everybody kind of just picks one. Or is it... I don't know. I don't know how it fucking works. What do you want from me? But it's just weird to me to think that everybody else hates you just because you're you. Because some people look at you funny. Whatever. Or because women clutch their bags when you walk by. Alright, like that, that's some shit. And that's not cool. And we're not going to go into that. Because we're not talking about that right now. I don't have to talk about that. Whatever. Anyways, I think you got to be looking for it. And I think the reason you're looking for it is because you're just at a point where you're expecting it. It's a white shoe. If I had $1 for every time I saw a black dude in pure white, pristine, glowing white shoes, I would have a decent amount of money. I wouldn't be able to retire, but it would be a decent amount of money. I was at work. One of the black dudes walks up, stands next to me. I looked down at his shoes because they were so white, you couldn't miss them. I was looking this way. He walked up next to me. I looked over and saw him, and I could see his shoes glowing from the fucking floor. And I looked down, and I'm like, God damn, some white shoes, man. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I pulled these out of the closet. I love these shoes. And I'm like, fucking. And I like put my boot, up over his shoe. Because I always do that with people when they have perfectly clean shoes at their dirty work jobs. You know what I mean? I'm like, you realize where you are, man. And I don't do it so as to step on the shoe. I'm not doing it even to threaten to step on the shoe. I'm giving a contrast. You see how dirty my shoe is next to your shoe? You're at work, dude. Whatever. Some people gotta look fly. I don't know. But wasn't there like a time, I don't remember if it was a rapper or not that was doing it. I haven't a clue. Was there a point in time where everybody was throwing these? I don't remember what the fuck the parties were called. Don't get me, but it was like, black parties, and they all dressed up in white, they all dressed up in all white, like that was like the thing. It was like a black tie affair, but it was a wear all white black people affair, you know what I mean? And it was pretty exclusively black people that went to these parties, and I've seen a lot of fucking black dudes in pure white shoes. And I've learned a lot recently about that particular cultural thing. I was pretty much told it's a black thing. Most black people are kind of like that. We got a thing with shoes. We like shoes. We like to look good. We like good looking clothes. We like to look good. I was told this by a man who still wears a grill. So I believe him. and then I was kind of told you wouldn't understand it. And that was pretty much where the conversation ended. And I was kind of like, well, I accept that. I don't understand it because I don't understand it. I own quite a few pairs of shoes. I got a pair of flip-flops because I like them. And that's pretty much what I wear all summer long, flip-flops. And I got a pair of water socks because I like them. Because if I go to the beach or anything like that, or anywhere where there's going to be water, I wear my water socks. And I have a couple pairs of sneakers that I don't wear. One should probably be thrown away. And that's the reason why I don't wear them. And the other one are a pair of very old Velcro kicks that also should probably be thrown away. And then I have my work shoes. I have my steel-toe work shoes, which honestly I wear all the time. So, I could give a fuck less about shoes. But one dude I work with, not a black guy by the way, Puerto Rican, nevertheless, he said he had fucking shit tons of shoes, dozens of shoes, and I'm like, I might have a dozen shoes if you count them separately. But you have dozens of pairs of shoes? He's like, oh, dude, I got a closet full of shoes. He's like, my girl's jealous. Because he buys himself shoes all the time. So, and I saw the pain on his face when he couldn't get the right color and whatever type of shoe he wanted to get for his baby. Like, I mean, I don't know, he was like 2 or 3, 4, maybe, something like that. But nevertheless, like, baby shoes, little teeny sneakers that he wanted to get that were the perfect color to match the fucking outfit that he got him. And I'm like, alright, you know, I'm like, that's cool, man. You know, what, to each their own. I'm not judging, whatever. That, you know, that's his thing. I've got my own fucking thing that I'm sure he probably thought was silly as fuck. So, but I don't understand how the white shoe's racist, man. I don't understand why that's a problem for fucking Black History Month. I mean, it is really white. I don't know, but I'll bet you this. Here's what I'll bet you. First of all, I could probably make a commercial selling it. Just saying. Second of all, I bet you, because they don't do this shit as stupidly as everybody kind of thinks that they do. They're stupid at the end of the day with it, because they don't think it past the dollar signs, but they think very much about the dollar signs. They're in the business of selling fucking shoes. They're not going to legitimately do this unless they have a fairly decent reason as to why, and I will bet you the reason why is they probably pay attention to who's buying what shoes. And they probably noticed that the most popular sports shoe amongst black men happens to be a very bright white shoe. So they probably went, we're going to sell an all-white shoe for Black History Month because black dudes love buying white fucking shoes. I'm guessing that's what their market research taught them. And I'm also throwing in my own anecdotal knowledge of the fact that I can't say every single black guy I know, because I know a lot more now than I used to. But on a long enough timeline, every black guy that I have known wore a pair of very white shoes and talked about how awesome they thought their very white shoes were. Tony did, Dare did, man, they all do. They've all told me about it. And I have the same conversation with them all. I don't think it's racist to say that. I don't know why I should feel like I'm defending the fact that my life kind of plays out like stereotype in that one way. Leave me alone. It's just what I've seen in my experiences in life. But I'm betting that's a fairly good reason as to why they would go, that's a good idea. But they didn't think past, it's what they all buy. You know what I mean? They didn't think it's an all-white shoe for Black History Month. That could go over poorly. Like, they didn't think about the cultural thing of it. They thought about, this is what sells. Most black men. This is what happens when you dice yourselves up in these little groups and try and pretend you're all monoliths. We all think and act the same. Companies start thinking they all think and act the same. You're making people racist with all your racism. And now shoe companies are all into this fucking thing. Probably because, as I have been told, shoes are kind of a black dude thing. Right? So, I see how it makes sense from their perspective, but I can also see that it's kind of a thing where you go, I mean, I guess it is, well, I guess it is Black History Month. So that would be why they were probably doing market research on what black people buy. But why the fuck are you celebrating Black History Month at all, Adidas? That's... Except as disabled, you know. I guess it's a black thing. I don't know. Like, in some weird way, it all makes sense to me that it wouldn't be racist. And that you really gotta kind of be like, well, you know, you're telling me there's not one black dude that's not looking at that shoe going, man, I'd buy that for Black History Month. Be like, these are my Black History kicks. They're white. I don't know. I don't know. I know that the guys at work thought it was fucking stupid. But whatever. So, whatever. But I have one more. How long is this? Oh, we're not that bad. Alright. I have one more to show you. And honestly, this one scares me the most. Because not only is it, I think, not racist. I also think that it's a fine shirt to wear if you want to wear it. I think it's a trending type thing. It's pretty fucking obvious they were going to make shirts at some point. But it's very disturbing that we have a brand new race that apparently can feel the sting of racism. In this modern day, we've discovered a new race. And it is journalists. Journalists! Hey, at Bloomingdale's. This isn't funny or fashionable. A, I think it's very funny. B, it's a pop culture reference. Makes it fashionable. It further delegitimizes hard-working journalists who bring real news to their communities. And I think your phone might not have caught it because it's not really like a spelling error. It's kind of a grammatical thing. You capitalized the word real. You didn't need to do that, right? I know you're trying to draw attention to it, but the way you should have gone about trying to draw attention to it is you should have left it normal case and put quotation marks on either side of that fucking bitch. Because, I mean, I don't know who the fuck you are, right? But I don't think Tucker Carlson is seeing that shirt and thinking to himself, that delegitimizes me as a hard-working journalist who tries to bring real news to my community. You know what I mean? I don't think Greg Gutfield. I don't think Jesse Waters. I don't think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people even on like MSNBC. You know, there's a couple of good reporters on there. There's a couple of good ABC reporters. There's a couple of good CBS reporters. Pretty much universally everybody at CNN, I think, however, is looking at that, thinking, they're making us look at our sins! You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Methinks you doth protest too much. You aren't a fucking race. You're a journalist. And you, madam, are most likely a fake news journalist. You're one of those opinion writers that writes for the fact sections of the newspaper. And no. Bad. You're an opinion writer. You're barely a journalist. Opinion writers, I'm sorry, you're barely a journalist. I don't care if you're on an actual whatever. I'm on CNN. So what that I'm an opinion writer? Exactly. There's a distinction there. You're not a journalist. Journalists do for real work. You do the same horseshit that I do. Which is why I don't call myself a journalist. But I can point to a couple of videos that would make me far more of a journalist than most articles that I see written online in the press these days. So, Bloomingdale's, of course, fucking caved because you don't want bad press from the press. You know what I mean? If Bloomingdale's would have come out and told him to suck his dick, then that would have actually been really good possibly for the country, because that might have gotten them off of Donald Trump for a day or two, and maybe he could take a breath. I don't know. But I think we'd be seeing a lot of fucking stories about Bloomingdale's and all of their criminal activities. And of course, there would need to be an investigation. You know what I mean? Like, it's really scary that while all of these other 3 racist articles of clothing are getting pulled from shelves because they're racist, this happens amongst it all. Fake news. That's some Orwellian shit right there, man. That really is. I mean, isn't that? I think that's like, what is it, Fahrenheit? I don't remember what the number is. I don't remember. But that's some Orwellian shit. Journalists can now get articles of clothing removed from store shelves. Journalists I've never heard of before can now get articles of clothing removed from stores because they're offended. Holy shit. We're in it now, folks.